Welcome. You have tuned into the second season of TTYL or Not. I am your host, Rev the Saint, and I'm sitting next to the incredible VShayne Frederick. If you haven't heard who he is, go ahead and check out the social media page. He's already introduced himself, but we're gonna get right into it. You tune in to TTYL or Not. Welcome to Theology Talk, you like or not. I am your creator, curator, investigator, sometime instigator, but definitely a liberator, Rev the Saint. And for a few moments of your sacred time in this sacred space, I invite you to tune in as we talk good, talk back, talk loud, talk smack, talk life and love, talk true, talk music, talk art, talk faith, hope, peace, joy, talk justice, talk God. Let's talk. VShayne.
What's up, Brett?
What's up? Thank you for sitting with me. I'm so excited to be sitting with you, a man with so much knowledge and so much wisdom, and can share so much, impart with us the thing that you do so great. Tell us how you have come into this space, into this time to do what it is that you do.
I think I discovered my assignment. It was circuitous. It was a whole thing, but I grew up watching music. My mother plays piano. She sings in church. So it was, seeing the church, the ceremony of it all, watching how music was at the centerpiece of it. And then realizing that I had a little bit of that desire, and I had the information, I just wasn't putting it to practice. And so my mother, again, she was the child of a guy who was a church musician, my grandfather who's passed away, Fountain Frederick. My mother played since she was 14 years old in churches like every week. She was sought out, had 2-3 churches a month. Because in down south, you would have a first and a third Sunday church, and a second and a fourth Sunday church. Because you wouldn't have church every Sunday because it's a small population. So
you'll go to churches.
The pastor has 2 churches because it's a small population of people, and also he could accommodate, I guess, geographic areas.
Got it.
So she would have 2, and it wouldn't be the same pastor. She would have, if it lined up, and you got a call from St. Stephen's, and then you got a call from Mount Zion, and it lined up. You'd have a first, third, and fifth Sunday church, and a second and fourth Sunday church.
Oh my!
So I grew up between Pentecostal, Holy Roller, all that whole deal, and Methodist or AME or whatever. So I saw a lot of church processes, and this is what I grew up in.
That's a lot of church.
It's so much church, and in the name of church, so come some of the choirs are traveling and going here and going there, and the choir rehearsals, and of course the Bible study and the prayer meeting and all that. So I was churched out, churched in and churched out.
Yeah.
But I was quiet, and I was not in the choir. I was watching all of this happen, and so ultimately, I guess at a point in my life where I needed some emotional development, music came in as the thing that facilitated that development. And that was through my father, who plays saxophone. He brought me a keyboard and said, we're not really talking, and I think you need to figure out what you want to do with yourself and your emotional being. But I know you have a little musical interest, and I know it's in you. You might not know how to do it, or you might not know that you know how to do it. Here's a keyboard. So I sat in my grandmother's basement a whole 5 months, and every day all I did was practice and play, and reverse engineering playing piano based on the songs that I liked, and I got the sheet music, and I figured out based on what I kind of knew about music, that's how I learned.
Wow.
And then through that process, when he realized I was actually talented, he brought his rusty dusty saxophone out, and we began to communicate musically, and then after that we began to communicate verbally.
So there's a video out. I don't know. It's your video. It's like you're walking through the city, and then you connect with this man on the porch. Is that your father?
No. That was something else. That's a good. I like that image though. That is a good image, and it kind of reminds me. That's a cool image. That was for this podcast from Philadelphia Contemporary. They have a podcast called Love Johns, which is poetry and music.
I know the podcast. Yeah. Because Vince Anthony produced for it.
Yeah, and so Yolanda Wisher, who is one of the poet laureates of Philadelphia, also is the project manager for this thing. She envisioned it, and she said, "Hey Shane, I got a spot. You want to do a thing? Do you ever do acting?" I was like, "Sure, why not?" So I was hired to do the whole skit, So we did a whole day of filming, which was really dope. for this poetry and live music podcast. So we did a whole. It was pretty cool, and
beautiful.
And we actually filmed one of our rehearsals as part of that.
Yeah, it was a beautiful. And so I thought that was your father.
Right.
But isn't it like music? I think for the Black culture in itself, to bring us together as people, especially the family unit. Because I remember growing up, like when me and my sisters weren't talking or something had happened within the week, come Saturday when we had to clean, we put on our music on, we switching tape decks or whatever.
The cleaning music. You knew when certain songs came on, you knew it was time to clean, first of all.
We getting things done.
I love it.
Yes, the Black music, the Black experience, music to connect us in a way that nothing else can. I mean, music, food. I mean, there's so many things in our culture that connect us in an intricate way. What's your favorite genre in all the genre that you dab in? What is your niche? What is the thing that you go to the most?
I would say what we call jazz because it involves improvisation and interpretation. And even when I'm not doing jazz, I use the vocabulary of jazz as far as improvisation and just like song, the way we interpret a song. I think that's a really important element of jazz that separates like the jazz masters from like novices. In all of my listening, I've learned from the masters that, you presenting a song, interpreting it a way that no one else has ever done it, is what separates you and connects you to your audience. And people even have jazz-like approaches, truly in a musical sense, jazz approaches to gospel, to R&B. You can hear when someone has a specific type of training that sets their musicality apart. You can hear that. And I've always wanted to be someone that sounded like I had information, because I think I do, and I'm learning more information every day. And
you got some information.
I know a little couple things.
You dabble.
I know I've been changed. I know I've been changed. I know I've been changed. Angels in heaven done sign my name. If you don't believe that I've been redeemed, angels in heaven done sign my name. Follow me down to the Jordan stream. Angels in heaven done sign my name. I stepped in the water was cold. Angels in heaven done sign my name. Chill my body, not my soul. Angels in heaven done sign my name. I know I've been changed. I know I've been changed. Said I know I've been changed. Angels in heaven sign my name. I said that I know.
Give me your top, like, who are your top fives, like vocalists that you listen to, or that, your top fives.
So this is a great question because in the process of becoming a legitimate jazz vocalist, there's a canon of music, the Great American Songbook that you're supposed to know. You're supposed to show up somewhere, a jam session, and call a song out, know the key, and they're like, okay, cool, and you do the song. In order to be able to get to that level, you have to study the greats and know the canon, and that goes for a lot of different disciplines. So in jazz, when I began to listen, I found that my favorite were, I think, Sarah Vaughan, who was interpretive, technically also brilliant, had a fantastic voice. Carmen McRae, who was the storyteller. Betty Carter, who is definitely all about improvisation, interpretation. Shirley Horn, who's nuance and subtlety. So like you have to lean in to listen to Shirley Horn. And I'm trying to think who else. That's four. Maybe I would say Nancy Wilson. Yeah, I want to say Nancy Wilson. I feel like I'm missing something. If I had to do just five, and notice those are all female vocalists.
I noticed.
Because they possess great voices, and back then they got better material. I feel like women's songs are dope. I feel like the songs that are specifically men's songs are usually, specifically in jazz, like not as interesting to me.
Is it the song or is it the interpretation? Or are women just better interpreters?
It's a little bit of both. I think that in society we give women a space to explore comfortably the emotion that it takes to interpret a song, you know. And the history of a woman, a vocalist in jazz was, you know, there was the bands, they were all instrumental, and then they wanted a chick singer who was pretty to come up and sing the song. It was very rare at that point in time that you would get in jazz, specifically a male vocalist, initially for a while. You know, even the great blues, unless you played piano, the great blues singers were all women. Ma Rainey, Bessie Smith, and this predates jazz. And then when jazz came into play, they still wanted a beautiful woman to interpret a song in front of a band of a whole bunch of dudes. And so there was more practice, and then, you know, just the way we socialize women in this society to be able to express a larger depth of emotion than men, you know. And so songs come in all colors. We could talk about Strange Fruit and Hush Now Don't Explain, I Know You've Been Cheating, or My Funny Valentine, I Love You Even Though You're Ugly, or Summertime, or, you know, all the songs in the canon of jazz. Women have the space without anything deterring them from being able to interpret all of those things. So I think women have a longer practice of being able to be in that space.
What? I want to go deeper into that.
Come on, let's go with it.
Why do you think women, though, beyond the just, because I hear you say, do you think it's because of our range of being able to emote, vulnerability?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's
I'm
what
saying
you're
women
saying.
have been socialized. I keep saying that. You know, the way we socialize women, and I guess not socialize men.
Got it.
And that's really the more important part.
Got it.
We actually somehow, at least emotionally, allow women to have a fuller range of existence than we do for men in the way we socialize human beings. And that shows up even in our art.
Got it.
We don't really socialize men to be artistically delicate, and we don't often do that. You get a few, right? But you think of archetypes. And so that goes definitely, the singer is the mouthpiece for the song. The singer is the person who takes a lyric and projects it into a world. And the more emotive the vocalist is, and gritty and soulful and all of that, the more we like that vocalist. We like the best of the best. And she, you know, daggone near got to, you know, start crying literally on the song for us to be like, Jess, I love, she can sing. Because you got to kick up your shoes, roll around, and go into a conniption fit.
Yeah.
When have you seen a man go into a conniption fit on a song?
Well, I mean, I've seen a man. VShayne, you have made me go into a conniption shit, that word.
Right?
In that vein,
Okay,
would
right.
you go ahead and and go ahead and do that to our audience?
Yeah.
You have a selection. Come on, it's Juneteenth. Give us a selection, because we talking about it. I mean, I've experienced VShayne in so many spaces and places. Give something to the people.
Considering the whole Black Music Month, and I was thinking about the song that was written by, actually it was written by Dr. Billy Taylor, but Nina Simone did a definitive version of this song. And people usually think of it for her. I think a lot of people did it too. It was a civil rights anthem. I wish I knew how it could feel to be free. I wish I could break all the chains holding me. I wish I could say all the things I could say. Say them loud, say them clear, for the whole wide world to hear. I wish I could be just like a little bitty bird in the sky. How sweet, how sweet, how sweet it could be if I found that I could fly. I soar to the sun and look down at the sea. Then I sing, 'cause I know. Then I'd sing, 'cause I know. Then I sing, 'cause I know. how it feels to be free.
I can't stand you. I had to get off the phrase. Let me take a couple of breaths. The people need some time. Go ahead, digest that. I don't think I've ever shared this with you. I remember the first time that I ever saw you, and it was at St. Paul's Baptist Church here in Philadelphia. It was for Rhythm of the Cross, which often happens during the Lent season, after the seven last word. And you sang, is it Go Down, Moses?
It was some hymn. It was something.
It was a hymn.
It was a spiritual, yeah.
But it was so healing. And I remember being, in that time, I remember being broken. That was a season of brokenness for me. And I was going through some things. And I remember two people in particular, actually three. You, Bridget, and Reverend Tucker. She did a poetic piece. And I was like, first of all, I was like, this kid is not here to sing. He's a poet, you know.
Right.
You know, because I have this idea in my mind how people look who can blow.
What they do, right.
And man, it was just so healing. So what are the feedbacks that you get that really resonate with you, that confirms your ashe, that indeed I am in the right path?
I think when you're doing what you do, you can tell when people come up to you the way that they receive it, because they'll come out of their way to say, I enjoy what you do. This reminds me of, this is amazing. You have something special going on. Don't ever stop saying. I get all of that, which affirms to me that I'm not, singing in a dark room to myself, right? And it's definitely, people saying I remind them of a person they know, not even like a vocalist, but just the energy of that took them back. It transported. This took me out of time. It resonated in a space. I can tell you love what you do, things like that, because I do, and I think I put me loving what I do into what I do, which actually matters. When you're doing something, if you look, if you demonstrate your joy, your pleasure in it, it impacts the way people receive you. I learned a long time ago that the performance doesn't start when you open your mouth. The performance begins when people see you, before you get to the microphone, the way you approach the stage, what you're wearing. All of that is a ministry.
He be sharp, y'all.
Please, I try to do a little shout.
This ain't nothing. He came to the space with a whole, what was a magenta suit. Magenta.
Yeah,
okay.
That's right.
Clean.
I mean, and I'm my grandfather's grandson too. So, and I think about the way that the elders, the ancestors, when they brought this music, the way they were clean.
Yes.
Board of health, clean, tight. And that energy goes into the way you do it. And even I think about anything, probably even ministry as well. You want to make sure that the way you look reflects the message that you're bringing to the people that you're bringing it to. Because if you look weary and well-doing, your energy and the message is going to be received as such.
Yeah.
But if you look like you feel special about what you're doing, it automatically sets the people up for a higher level of like, oh, this is about to be a thing, okay? So I learned that a long time ago. It starts way at the beginning.
Oh man, that's beautiful. That actually. So you're saying something, but I'm feeling some resistance here.
Okay.
And I want to bring it up.
Come on, let's
I'm just
talk.
paying attention to what's happening right now, because you just said something. If you come up weary and well doing, but sometimes that space needs that particular energy. And so, and I'm also like
read the room. That's the other.
Yeah, I'm talking about like respectability politics of like how we should be and show up in church. Like to be very careful that we're not outing or keeping people out of being a part of the community and the audience.
Yeah, there's a way to do it, so you don't want to ostracize people.
Correct.
And again, when I say read the room, I mean, if you are going to a funeral. If you're doing a funeral, you're ministering to people in a certain type of way, and you're not reading the energy, the emotion of that moment, and you're a little too jubilant or something like that. It's like, well, let's temper that and meet the needs of the people in that moment. So there's a space for that. I mean, and if you're in a space where a lot of people are suffering and impoverished, and you look a little too clean, and you got on your sequins and this and that, then that will be off-putting, and that will separate you.
Very good.
So there's a way to. So this is all about inviting the audience into the moment. I'm interpreting something. I have a text, a song, I'm going to interpret this and give this to you. And I want to just look like I'm inviting you to this moment. There's a difference in doing that and saying, I'm better than you. I got something to say, but I'm not even really speaking to you. I'm speaking above your heads. And then I'm going to leave, and I'm clean. So really don't touch me. You know, when we're passing the piece, don't really, you know, that kind of thing, right? So there's a difference in that, you know, and that's reading the room and knowing how to be interactive and open up, breaking down this fourth wall. You know, we have the three walls and this space, which invites the audience in. So when you are able to break that fourth wall away and invite the audience on the stage or on the platform, on the dais, on the pulpit, with the moment, with the text, that's a different thing.
So there's a reciprocal relationship happening. The audience is actually part of the performance almost.
Absolutely.
In the way that you're describing it.
It absolutely is. The audience is. And I'm very interactive and looking, and you know, you got to do eye contact with the audience, and because I'm not just doing it out into the world and I don't care. You know, and you know, I'm black, and black people will let you know if it's good. I know that's right. You know, all of that. They're going to give you what you need. If black people eat something good, they're going to tell you it's good.
That's right.
And if they're quiet and they don't say nothing, then you know. Then you know it ain't right. You know. And so I'm here to do this because of, and it's not just entertainment; it's engagement.
What's the hardest space that you've had to perform in?
It is those for me, the super silent spaces that give no feedback.
Not a good place for a black Baptist preacher.
There you go, okay, right? No, because you know, you gotta hear, can I get an amen?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all ain't come to have church. Let's talk on this side real quick, you know. I think part of that is I'm so geared to read the room and figure out what I need to change about what I thought I was going to do in order to get the reaction I wanted to get. And part of it is grooming your audience too. I've been in spaces where they don't know the protocols of jazz, so maybe I'm going to change my set a little bit and invite them in a different kind of way.
Yeah.
Because it's strange to be in a place with people who don't know how to receive your art. And if I'm singing in front of my family, black people, and I came to do the straight ahead jazz set, and they're not really accustomed, educated in the world of jazz, and so it's like, all right, well, maybe I'm going to do some, you know, R&B jazzy. I'm gonna throw some of this in there. I'm gonna throw some, you know, some Jill Scott, and you know, throw some Marvin in there. I'm gonna do something, you know, because I need you to be a part of this process.
Yes.
You know, and when I can't get the audience to get with me, I mean, you know, there have been moments, I'm sure even Patti LaBelle somewhere has had to figure out, all right, how I'm gonna work this crowd, because I need to work this crowd to the bone, and you're gonna figure out how to work this crowd. Otherwise, you're gonna be unsatisfied and disappointed with the thing until you've connected. You know. And then sometimes I found that in those spaces, at the end of it, they come up, oh my God, you were amazing. I was like, well, y'all was quiet. I thought this was a funeral. And then literally everyone, I've been in certain audiences where they've been silent. You could literally hear, you know, someone typing on their phone. As in, if they were pressing a button, because it was so silent you could hear anything. At the end, oh my God, you were amazing. Can I have your CD? And it's like, well, why didn't y'all give me all of that while I was doing my thing?
Yeah.
But people interact with the moment differently too.
Yeah.
So I've learned to try to give it all, read the crowd, and then just trust the process. Because you don't know what's going to happen at the end. And I'm sure you've seen that, you know, in various types of pulpits. You're not going to get the Baptist feedback in, you know.
Have I seen that?
Okay. Right. And they'll come up, it was so deeply touching. Oh my God, it changed my life. You wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
Because if this was a Black Baptist church, people there's been an usher over there fanning somebody who's laid out right now under the pew.
Right.
But you got to trust the process.
Trust the process. VShayne, outside of everything that you do as a jazz musician, vocalist, poet, what is the thing that grounds you? What are some ritual practice that that helps you along the way?
Remembering. I remember, you know, I think about my grandfather, and I honor my grandfathers. I think about all the people who've sown into me different things.
Wow.
And so that constantly connects me to the source for me, right? Because the literal source of me is my direct ancestors, and then of course that is an extension of God. And so in remembering and grounding myself in those things, I don't care what's actually happening in the moment, because, you know, moments come and go, but it's always recentering in the truth of who I am and how on purpose I am and in purpose I am. That's just like a regular boop, boop, boop. I got to do that all the time, literally every day.
Yeah.
So I know where my power source is, because if I'm unplugged, eventually I'll have no juice left.
Yeah. So you talk about this power source, and you also talk about your audience. What is like one or two feedback that you've gotten that also like helps you remember that this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing?
I mean, the emphatic stuff. You know, my grandmother listened to this song, And this reminds me, like, and I get people coming up to me privately and like weeping, you know, and then seeing me later, like 2-3 months later. I saw you at this place. You're amazing. You remind me of, but that kind of a thing. That lets me know that it's impactful, because we have so many transactional moments, even in art. Just comes and goes. You hear something, and the way we digest art, we hear something one time. That was a great album. Never hear it again, right? But when it resonates and it sticks, you know that you have something kind of impactful and great. And so I get that, the way it resonates. It reminds me of something ancient. When I'm getting told that I'm from a different era, in the regard, and not just like, I'm wearing a costume and doing a thing of that era, but I give timeless energy. I'm like, that's great. That lets me know I'm doing something right.
Yes, that's beautiful. Question of this platform, TTYL or not, does stand for Theology Talks You Like, and I've experienced that talk happening, even though we've not directed it. But where is God in this for all of you? Like,
well, like I said, purpose. I believe that this specific art, the music, and whatever I do musically, and even if I'm not doing gospel when I'm doing a song, people get the spiritual, the fact that there is a spirit behind that, or a spiritual nature behind that. That lets me know that I am on purpose and acting in purpose. And that I am letting people know that there's something larger than this song. I think it reminds people of things. I think the purpose is to remind people of their own nature, and of goodness and of good things, and of joy, and all of that, of all the things that we constantly get told don't exist, because that's a lie. We just have to remember that things are larger than contemporary stuff that passes through. Yeah.
You're putting me in a place.
Come on, now.
I want to go a little bit deeper.
Okay, sure.
The first question is, are there moments where you feel like you're going to step away, or this is no longer a part of my journey any longer? Have you ever felt that experience? What's that like for you? And how do you get back to it? And maybe it's not that, or maybe it's just like I'm taking a break, or taking like you're having a creative block. What is that experience for you as creative?
Thankfully, I have not really. I've been in the super productive, I'm doing a lot, I need a day off. I've done that. And then comes a pandemic, right? Which was like, oh great, I have time to recharge. And then in the middle of recharging, I'm just conceiving new ideas.
Oh, shit.
I think because I am so tapped in and so ready, and like I literally abandoned everything else to do that thing. And so until I stop, unless I start getting like feedback like, hey, this is not working for you, you need to do something else, I don't see that I will ever abandon that thing. And even when it gets quiet, something else pops up and it's like, hey, like the opportunities that have presented themselves in the last year have been amazing, despite all the things that have been going on out in the external world, because my internal world is still grounded in the real reality and not just the moment by moment reality of the world. And with that said, as long as I keep my eye on that, because if you start looking to the left and the right, you're going to swerve. If the highways, why you
You preaching, boy! I feel my help coming.
I know that's right. I just try to stay focused, because when I'm focused on that, it never goes wrong. So I'm grateful for that. And I know people have burned out, but I feel like when they burn out, it's because they've deviated their vision. I think.
You got my stuff?
I didn't mean to be in your stuff like that, man. I didn't mean to be in your stuff. No, yeah.
This is good. Keep talking.
Yeah, just the grounding, just really, really, really reconfirm the grounding. Why? And even from a business perspective, a friend of mine who is very much in the business mind of artistry, she asks people when they say they want to be an artist, like, why do you want to be an artist? Because if it's for this, then you need to do this. You need to go on Instagram, and you got to pump out stuff, even if you don't like it. If you want to do the business piece, then you need to do this. But if you want to be an artist, all right, so that's a different thing. You got to really figure out, and sometimes there's a synthesis of those things, and you can figure out how to. I don't think your ancestors want you to be poor. I think they want you to survive. But if you're driven, to do that in art, interpret it, and give art to the people, give creation to the people, give that energy to the people, then you need to focus on the quality and the integrity of that you're giving to the people. And the other stuff happens. But people get sidetracked and they just want to be popular and they don't actually want to be talented or be creative, or be life-giving, right? Because I don't think anyone gets tired of people giving life. If you're a life giver, your audience is never going to get tired of you giving life.
This is so good. This is so good. You don't even know what he's doing to me right here.
Yeah.
You just said, you dropped so many nuggets right here. First of all, you don't get tired of giving life. But if you're giving creation, this idea, I saw this image of God's self giving us creation, giving us the opportunity to co-create with God.
Right.
I mean, literally giving it to us. Oh, Jesus. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. But I think I'm going to listen to this episode at least a couple of times.
This also reminds me, that's interesting, because now you said that, it reminds me of, I think about, and I don't know, and I will never physically know, childbirth. There's something that happens when a woman gives birth in which she forgets the pain of it. And she only really remembers the joy of it. She might remember the story, but the pain doesn't register. And then there are women who have a dozen children, right? And you think about older generations, that's what they did. 12, 13, 17, crazy amount of children. Because they like to give life. They like the creation process, and they loved what they created, or who they created.
They love the creation process and who they created.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you forget the pain of creation. You forget the pain of childbirth.
Yeah.
You remember the joy of having that child. And so I guess part of that joy of being a co-creator with God is that, and we go through the birthing pains, right, of creating these things that we create. And then when it's finally there and someone comes back and reflects to you what you've done and how beautiful and how touching it was, whether it's one person or a million people, you remember that. And you're like, oh, I want to do some more stuff.
That's right. Hence why I'm on the second season of TTY
Okay.
now.
That's right, baby.
But I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, I remember just when I first started, just because I do it all. I'm filming, I'm editing, I'm getting the background cuts, I'm researching, because it's not just I'm putting somebody on. I'm actually researching y'all and putting a storyline together. And I love it. It's what I love to do, but it's not just. It's a week of work. Hence why I don't produce every week. I don't have a show every week. It's every 2 weeks that it comes out. But yeah, I feel so blessed and honored to be able to co-create with God. I feel like especially now during the season of everything is digital now, I think what I am doing, and I've claimed this to be what I'm offering back into the world, is creating a digital canon of the lived experience of people for this time.
That's brilliant.
Because I really think the books, they're going to be gone. And so what do I offer up? What do I leave? And so your narrative, these individuals that I get to interview, their narratives get to be a part of the spiritual, biblical, whatever, lived experience of this time, this era.
This very moment. Yeah.
This very moment.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll get something out of it to carry them through wherever they are in their journey.
And the right person is always the right person, because you never know the ripple effect of it. But it's always that person that you would have never expected will be impacted by that. And that's enough.
That's enough. I think we said it all. I think we've done it all. I am so grateful for you, VShayne, for sitting next to me and just sharing all of your wisdom, your knowledge, your talent. Tell the folks where they can find you, your music, and everything that you do. So
please find me as far as social media on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter on VShayne, VShayne, on all of those things. And I have 4 projects that are released. They're on the streaming and digital. You can buy them on Bandcamp and iTunes and Tidal. I've released 4 projects in 2019. I did 3 and I put one out in 2020. And I have one in the back of my head now. So please stream it, find it, Spotify, everything. There's Lovesome and Gleaming, Evergreen, and Black Light. And I won't tell you what the next name is yet, but you'll see it soon. So find me on everything. I have all the projects. Please come check it out, listen, enjoy, and share. Thank you. You just tuned in to TTYL or Not. Theology talks you like or not. Peace.
This season of TTYL or Not is being funded by Independence Public Media Foundation and supported by Good Pitch, Doc Society, and Love Now Media. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, TTYL or Not, and click on notification for updated episodes.